Welcome to this first edition of Philosopher Round Table. The subject today is free will versus a good will. Are we something other than our programming, than our environment, than our nature and nurture? Is there something else that we can rely on that would be free? I would argue that no, there isn't. There's no such thing as a free will. And that everything good about us, anything good about our intentions or what we do in our behavior, is the byproduct of controlling will, of having controlling ideas, controlling principles, controlling values. So you need to be fed something good to be good. We are what fertilizes us. It's a cause and effect universe, and what you are is a byproduct of what you've been forced to be. Your personality may seem nuanced and creative and interesting, but everything you do, every movement, every aspect of yourself is just about how the basic mechanism that you were at birth has been programmed by experience. Reading a book is an experience. Watching a movie is an experience. Being beaten by your father is an experience. Being molested by the priest is an experience. We all have experiences, a group of experiences. Growing up in the ghetto is an experience, a daily one. And these experiences create inside of you a set of values, a set of ways of looking at the world. And for some people, they'll end up looking at the world as me against them. And other people will see the them as the bigger picture, and it'll be about serving them, how to best maximize their interaction. Is a smart person free to steal candy from a baby? I don't think so. You have to be foolish and stupid to be free. Freedom means ignoring risk. You can't. Some people are not free to drink and drive because they know the consequences. They know the risk factors. They know it's not the right thing to do, and they won't do it. And so that's all the will is really made out of, is what is your prime directive in life? Do you have primary principles that guide your existence, or is your primary principle me first? Anything we might call random wouldn't be random. I could randomly say to myself right now, do something completely opposite of yourself. Well, it wouldn't be random, right? Because I had to have the idea of being non-conventional or non-myself. Contrived out of programming that understood that this is how you do the opposite of what you usually are. So it was just the opposite program running. Nothing. It's like a computer. Computers have to contrive random. They can't find random in the universe anywhere. So they have to make a random number out of a mathematical equation. And the random is not really random. So anyway, James, what do you have to say?
I'm certainly in agreement in that I would say that I'm a hard determinist. We're not free to do what we want to do. There's no such thing as absolute freedom. There's just less or more restrictions and limitations. I'm not free to fly right now. I see our brain as a machine, as a as a computing machine. I don't think there are any non-material entities in which could influence the will or some kind of spirit or anything. I just think it's a entirely material phenomena. We have the illusion that we are making choices. The brain is just this configuration, this shape that's running patterns. In actuality, there is no probability, there's just inevitability. So limitation of the human brain that makes us think that we have, that things are more or less probable. But if we had the super mastermind or whatever, we would know that things aren't just probable. They are inevitable. So yeah, back to the subject of free will and a good will. in order to be good, you need the right program, the right, I guess, understanding of value. I do think that people can change, and I think they can change very drastically, very quickly. It would just take one experience to change, to go from the Ebenezer Scrooge to some sort of philanthropist. Back to sum it all up, I don't think that there is a such thing as a free will. There's always certain restrictions imposed upon us.
Well, so I'll play the black sheep and I'll say that we have free will. Free will is just plain and simple making free choices out of your own accord. Now, if you think by me saying that I have free will, then I must believe in a God, then no, that's not the case. I don't believe in God. Your actions are fully determined by physical natural law, i.e. physics. Now, yes, we are extremely organic. We are extremely biological machines. We were designed to evolutionize. We were designed to, our psychological makeup evolutionized for the better. Our psychology made us survive stronger, made us survive better. Better choices were made through our psychological evolutionary process. Our brain runs program after program that makes us do things, makes us do stuff, if you will. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you responsible for your choices? If I ask that question to a lot of people will say, yes, we are responsible for our choices. Responsibility requires an act, a well thought out act. We make choices because we have this thing called senses. These senses make us perceive. Perception is the foundation of our intellect. Our intellect gives way to our knowledge. That this knowledge makes us see better choices, makes us act better, makes us logically deduce of a better choice. Then the best choice after we do that is made. If we are in fact predetermined beings, then nothing we do would hold any accountability. Again, that is inescapable. Case in point, if you are responsible for your acts, then you indeed have free will. Case in point, you are responsible for your acts. You are solely responsible for your acts. Ergo, you indeed have free will. Again, you are responsible for the choices that you make. Ergo, you indeed have free will. Modus ponens.
Start with Zombie Picture Show's final, I guess, jab at the end of his video, posing the question, are you responsible for the choices you make? I don't really know if there is such a thing as a you, as he's put it, a fully independent being who has access, unfettered access to like the full range of potential possibility. Now, I'm allowed to judge you based on the set of values that you choose to live your life by. And if your set of values is one in which murder is, justifiable, premeditated murder is justifiable, then I'm allowed to judge that and say that's not conducive to society. You need to rethink that because of the impact on suffering, even if they try to make the argument that they weren't in control of their actions. You should know the basic rules, and that's really all there is to say. We need to have a conversation again about the word free and the notion of random. Thanks.
Very well done. Thank you to all the participants. First, we have to just deal with the language. So you have these two words, free and will. Both words aren't very well defined. The idea of free will, I think we've made the point that no, most of the good things about a will are going to be things that confine your will, not liberate your will. There's a competition in your brain with your ideals, your desire. These are the main components anyway. It's just your desire, what you want, what you have a taste for, and a contextual mechanism of understanding of themes, principles, ideals that tell you maybe what you want isn't what you want. Maybe you can't have what you want. What we're really in the end talking about is whether our reactions are controlled deterministically by the universe, or whether there's some other force, some other manipulator. And I think there's no evidence has been provided of any external manipulator beyond your life experience, which you understand to be the truth. A side issue raised has been what is consciousness itself, the hard problem. I think that argument can be dismissed as, no, consciousness doesn't do anything. Consciousness is a witness. You witness your brain produce the illusion of your personality. Everything I just said was composed subconsciously. I didn't have much to do with any of it. I just watch me perform. I don't make me perform. The idea of an I is kind of bogus in terms of being a player. The I is a watcher, a spectator, not really a player. Her objection raised in another video was the idea that it might be some kind of quantum effect, some sort of smallest bits of the universe are, fiddling with us. Those random effects wouldn't be of any real use in improving our behavior. It can just make us more chaotic. And I think the argument can be made that we're quite reliable, quite dependable. Once you say something like, I would never do a certain thing, most of the time you're pretty reliable in never doing that. I don't wake up each day and have to figure out, am I against drunk driving or not against drunk driving? No, it's always there. Our brain works very reliable. It's like a clockwork and like a computer, and there is no aberrant things fiddling with the programming. It's made to be reliable by nature, just as computers are made to be reliable by us. So anyway, choice is an illusion. I've used the analogy of you pondering whether to jump into a cold swimming pool. And there's just this, you have to just wait for your will to get there. And it gets there by just saying, give me one more good reason. Give me one more good reason. And when it gets that one more good reason, it initiates the go program. And you don't consciously make it happen. It happens inside your subconscious. All right, a very important idea brought up by Longcat is the concept of change and the fact that we can be changed. I would argue that that deterrence works. So for the people who do bring up these arguments about whether or not people are responsible for their behavior in a deterministic world, it doesn't really matter. A zombie attempted to argue that the fact that we hold somebody responsible somehow ergo proves freedom of will. It just proves that we understand that whether a dog is rabid, whether it's not its fault, doesn't change the fact that you have to put it in a cage, or you have to shoot it, or you have to do something, you have to dispose it. Yeah, you have to deal with the fact that it does have rabies. And when a person isn't working right, when he fails to meet the standards, you have to do something about it. And the fact is that doing something about it can be very constructive. You can prevent harms in the future because deterrence works and education works. Experience works in terms of creating change in people. Stories work, movies work, messages work, propaganda works. That's why it's out there. Commercials work. That's why they exist. It's because they work. And the change is part of the determinism. It's all a swirling mess, but it's all a swirling mess that is clockwork, again, like a tornado. It looks like chaos, but it's clockwork. The Zombie Picture Show used the word like accord, of your own accord. What's an accord? So you're stuck with a, what is a you? You is a spectator. You is watching your programming. There's no Mozart without Mozart being fertilized. There's no Tiger Woods without it being created. These things don't just happen. They happen because they're constructed. So in the end, freedom fails as a concept of behavior. You don't want to be free. You want to be controlled by intelligent understanding of the mechanism, the maze you're navigating. Intelligence allows you to navigate the maze efficiently. Freedom, ignorance, allows you to make mistakes and fail. The simplest argument I could make is that I become much more predictable the smarter I become. You can anticipate every move once my logic is revealed. Once you have the roadmap, the intelligent roadmap of my values and judgments, you can predict my behavior. And that just basically proves that there is no freedom in goodwill.